rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Any additions or changes to the agenda? You're going to notice that I and M are the same thing. So we're going to take them and we're going to move them. Ah, we're going to move that, thank you. Anybody else have any other additions? Okay, and we can do that when we get there. Any additions?
Actually, I would like to discuss the situation with updating our website.
Okay, so that'll be new business. Yeah, we'll take it, yeah. Do you have anything?
Nope.
Mr. Sure. No? Okay. I'm going to add homeowner complaint to executive session. And I'm going to read this out before we get started, just so you guys are aware of what's going on here tonight. Welcome, everyone, to the June 24, 2015 meeting of the Board of Directors. This meeting is being videotaped, so if you don't want to be on camera, now's the time to leave. Those of you who are videotaping it, please do not move. Stay where you are through the whole meeting. We currently have 20 speakers for our open 30. So I'm going to limit everybody to 2 minutes so that everybody gets a chance to speak that wants to speak. Please be brief so everyone can say their piece. I'd like to get done in 40 minutes if it's at all possible. This is not a dialogue, so we're not going to be responding to you when you speak to us. We'll try and answer your questions and director's comments, which follows the open 30. Okay. Do not forget, we have a town hall meeting on Saturday. So if you don't get your questions answered today, that meeting is specifically to be available to answer your questions. And that's from 10 to 12. Catherine at the Harbor Inn? At the Harbor Inn, okay. Any personal attacks against a director will be gaveled out. You will be invited to attend an executive session to discuss your concerns. We do not discuss your actions or your accounts in public. We live here too, and we feel we deserve the same treatment. If the room gets too loud, I will have the room cleared so that we can finish what we need to get done. Thank you very much. Now for my fellow directors, a few things I brought up a few meetings ago that I want to bring back. If you want to speak, raise your hand. We've got way too much cutting people off and not letting them finish what they have to say. Please be polite and not interrupting each other. We have a number of votes going on tonight, so I'm going to remind you of the process. A person wants to make a motion. They will explain their motion. They will make it. If it gets a second, each person will have one opportunity to comment on it, then I'm going to call the vote. A lot of these issues already, everybody said their piece. We discussed them at the work session, so arguing for an hour and a half over them is not going to change anything that's going on. Any questions on that?
Yes. I have a question. We can't hear back here.
I'm sorry, ma'am, that's as loud as I speak, so. Do we have a microphone?
There's 3 chairs here. Could you stand up, please? 3 chairs.
Yeah, microphone.
There are 3 chairs up front available. If someone wants to sit.
One over here.
Okay, well, I'm done talking anyway. Let's start the open 30. Dusty Kitzmiller?
Dusty Kitzmiller, lot 0194. First of all, this is simply my understanding of events that have occurred over a long period of time. Some things happened with the police department. One of the directors ran for the board. At that time, some friction began. Later, the board pushed for the police department to pursue sticker enforcement, which through a lot of different discussions, including the Commonwealth's attorney, was explained as a civil issue, yada, yada, yada. Some of the board members continued to push it. Then during budgeting, and this jumps around a little bit, but through the timeline, basically the budget was ironed out, voted on, approved, said that it was balanced. Then it came back to, okay, we're getting rid of the stable manager. I don't believe there was any cause given for that, but I'm not sure. This is my understanding. which obviously would have saved money getting rid of the position not filling it. Now, office personnel have to cover those duties, which leads us to having to hire someone else to do part-time office work to cover it. Then the trash contract was changed without any public notice, saving, according to the GM's notice that went out, $70,000 a year after raising our POA fees, along with the regular fees for trash, etc. And we're losing services, but this money keeps getting saved and we really don't know where it's going. Then talk started with targeting the police department or police chief, whether rumors or not, no one really knows. But one of the directors decided to put a motion out there in the work session last week, and 3 of the board members decided, oh, we don't need that because what we said is we're not doing that, going after them. Well, how are we supposed to trust you? Lots of different things have happened. The bids notice went out from the GM. I talked to him after the last meeting. Different things were said that no, it wasn't asking for bids, that it was just notice that we talked to another company at a different private community. But my question is, how are we expected to trust you when things keep jumping around, you do things behind our back, you're saying money is saved, but the fees and everything else keep going up while services go down? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Susan West.
Hi, originally I planned, I didn't understand, I haven't been to these meetings in a while, it shows you how much I care to be here tonight. But what I would just like to say is that our police chief, and we know that nothing's decided yet, but our police chief has been the most wonderful in the world. We couldn't ask for better. She keeps us up to date on everything, crime, weather, traffic. She looks out for us. And I hate to see us lose her or anybody else in the police force. We're very proud of our police force. And the other thing, it kind of related to what the previous speaker said, is you're a new board. I know you're not, we can't hold you responsible for things that have happened in the past, but we don't know. We're a little bit insecure because having lived here for 32 years, I remember going to a meeting way back when I used to go to meetings all the time and hearing that this is when the Harbor Inn was still going to restaurants, and we had someone here who ran it then, Paul and Sue Cipolla, a couple, who were wonderful. We loved them. We overcame, we appeared, we were here, we were told, oh, you know, you don't have to worry about it. We're not here to decide that now. And next thing we heard was a week or 2 later, oh, it's been decided to get rid of them. They didn't put it that way, and put somebody else in there. When the position went to the lowest bidder. Lowest bidder, what is that? We ended up with a couple of young guys who ended up giving takeout pizza, and we lost people we cared about. And that's not you, that's a long time. But we're a little bit insecure about it and distrustful, so we're here to show you in force how much we care and how much we value our police department. And we'd like to have our chief have the option to exercise her good judgment. I mean, she cares for us, it's unbelievable. We've never had anyone that is so competent and so efficient and is out there all the time and cares for us, and if anything happens to our police force, we're gonna be very upset. So I want to say.
Randall Stone. Randall Stone. Lori Posner.
I just want to reiterate what has been said already, and I'm here in support of the police department. And I'm also here wondering why, or are board members allowed to go to your property and tell you what to do with it? And how could that happen? Are board members allowed to tell you that you don't need that many flower pots on your front lawn? You need to take the ivy down off your house. I was in the hospital very ill when this happened, and it made me very upset. And I couldn't do anything about it, but I called my boyfriend and my roommate, and they took care of everything. To mow the lawn on the 2nd day of April, Did anybody start mowing their lawns beginning of April? I don't know. And I had these 2 reindeer on my front lawn. They were Christmas ornaments, but I was planning on making them topiaries. And I was told I couldn't do that. So, that's all I wanted to say.
Brenda Light,
Good evening, Brenda Lay, lot 899. Stable manager funding in the amount of $17,464 was approved in the FY16 budget. The special board meeting early February, and that's when the budget was approved. The 25 February board meeting, an executive session was called at 9:20 to discuss issues to include personnel matters. It's my understanding it was during this closed session that the discussion to eliminate the stable manager funding occurred. This is a revision to an approved budget that occurred during the executive session, which is against bylaws. This discussion to revise the already approved 16 budget should have occurred in open session, not just a vote. Bylaws state in Part 4, Expenditures, Article 15, Rules of Expenditures, Section 1, once adopted for the applicable fiscal year, the budget shall be the guideline under which all sources of funds are to be received by the corporation and expenditures made thereby. Nothing shall preclude revisions being made in the budget, so long as such revisions are made by the board only and at open and non-executive meetings thereof. And I would ask for clarification where this funding has been reappropriated to. That has not been explained. As this elimination of funding line was not permitted by our bylaws, the vote to eliminate the stable manager position is null, in my opinion. The stable manager should be reappointed immediately.
Emily Fallon,
Emily Fallon, lot 1149. I would like to talk about communication to the community from the board. I had the opportunity to talk to several board members when all of the rumors started flying, as was suggested on Friends of the Playa, and then I saw a response made by Director Collins that was supposed to be from the board, from what the bylaws said, and it was a completely different answer than everybody else had given me. I want to know if there's going to be a plan drawn out for communications so that we really do know what's rumor and what's truth, and how you intend to get it out to the public.
Michael Schiff.
I'm not sure if anybody remembers, but a board member a couple of years ago made a resolution, made a motion, attempt to have a resolution drafted that would require 2/3 of the vote to remove the person that was in the general manager's position. I believe that was right at the time Chuck Hall was found to be doing something wrong and asked to leave. When you do that, what you do is you essentially take that for-hire person that's an employee and you make them essentially an elected official. You make it to where it's pretty much impossible, no matter what they do, to terminate the position and replace them with someone else. I understand that that's being talked about tonight, and there are people out there that you can do that for. However, no one is going to be around forever. At some point, everybody retires. And if you make a resolution to where someone in a management position is not touchable by the general manager or the board, where they can do what they want, I think open yourself up for some of the things that we had in here before, Chief Harmon. There's a lot of rumor on Facebook about me, and I find that funny because I never post on Facebook. I don't know half of you in this room. But everybody seems to believe that Director Shepard has some type of agenda to remove Chief Harmon and put me in that position. That is simply not true. I am not qualified for that position. I don't want that position. I left here because I have a job where I work 8 to 4. I'm off on the weekends. I see my family at night, and I don't work holidays. I could not get that deal here. And by the way, I'm back in the state retirement system, which is a whole lot better retirement. It's a little bit more secure than a 401k. I hope everybody hears this, and this talk about me being chief of the harbor, which is totally crazy because I'm not qualified, stops.
Thanks, sir. Tracy Mason.
What about Ben? You skipped over Ben.
You got?
Yeah, hi.
He wanted to wait till the end.
It's okay, I'll speak now. I'm Ben Krasinski, lot 1435. Ken, Mike, Dad, Mr. Stevens not here, Barb, Chip, Don, and Chris. I live next door to Chris. I've spoken to all of you except Deb and Stevens. Been here since 1988. Facebook, I belong to Facebook, Nasty Pants, BOA, HOA, Save a Choir. If you hear it on Facebook, it is not true. It definitely is not true. Talk to the people. If you have a question, I support it. I support the board that I elected. The people that I elected are on the board. If you don't like it, the next election, put your person up. Ms. Bell, thank you for what you're doing last week and this week. Get better systems to record it, to record the voice. We elected these people. If you do not like it, election time, take the people out. Thank you.
Ms.
If it's
Bates?
too late, so be it.
Tracy Mason, lot 482, I think, or 1481. Okay, so I talked to several directors myself. I've gotten an assortment of different stories. The communication is difficult to understand at best. The president, Chip Collins, his was via the association page, didn't match Director Cole's, and Director Green had a different version, and Director Caldwell had a different version, and everybody has a different version. You wonder why nobody believes the board? Your credibility is shot in this community, and it's at your own hands. We as residents are here in force to say, we've had enough, stop it. We want effective, consistent, and those are two very key words, communication. I don't know how you guys need to figure it out and do it, but it needs to be done tomorrow, yesterday, today, not a month from now, not 6 months from now, not Barb's struggle for 2 years over a web page that still hasn't happened. It doesn't take that long. Tomorrow, Friday, we want effective, consistent communication. There's going to be a resolution put out, or a motion, whatever you want to call it, for the residents to be able to vote on our PD. I hope you support it because you have no credibility with us. I'm sorry, but you don't. We residents want the security that our PD will not be going anywhere.
Thank you. Bridget Tice?
Bridget Tice, 1595, and I fully support what Tracy just said. I'm here to speak and say that I have been here 12 years, and this is probably my 3rd or 4th meeting I've been able to make it to. I work up north, so it's hard to get here at 7 o'clock after feeding children and everything. But I did watch the work session last week and was quite surprised at what goes on at these types of things. Surprised that there was some good and some bad. The good was that there were some great ideas that were brought out for communication. I applaud Debbie for bringing out all those things. Those are inexpensive things that can be done tomorrow, today, and I'm wondering why they haven't already been done. Credibility is shot. Been here 12 years, I've never seen it this bad, and there's been a lot of years where it's been bad. This is bad. My chief of police, I don't know her from Adam, but I do know that she's got the best interest of my daughter. I have a daughter that gets on a school bus while I'm heading north, 45 miles from her. And when I was concerned about the pedophiles and the people that live in this community that want to see harm done to children, I called her and I said, what can I do? She said, tell her to put me on speed dial and she can call me and I'll have somebody there. If something looks out of place or out of order for her. No, people are not qualified to be chief of police. Some people are not. She is. She deserves our respect, and she deserves to be treated better than just you talking behind her back, you going into special little 2-on-1 meetings and deciding this. If that's rumor, then shame on you, because I'm believing it because you have not informed me on what is the truth. And I deserve the truth. I pay my dues every single time. I've never been late. I contribute here. I work here. I live here. My kids have grown up here. And I deserve that. I deserve a chief of police that's going to keep us safe. I moved here from a ghetto up north. Didn't deserve it. I moved here for the safety. I work for a federal agency where I need my privacy as well. So I need a gate. Those are important things for me, as a lot of people have said that's important for them. I don't want her to go. She's going to have to retire one day, that's true. But I should have a choice in who the next person is as well. So if we have to go to where you elect a chief of police, by God, let's do it. There's other places that elect a chief of police, so let's do that. So that we can have the option to decide. I fully support Chris Green's motion to go for it.
Thank
And
you.
do that.
Maria Canada?
Yes, Maria Canada, lot 1621. The issue I'd like to address to the Board of Directors is the issue of integrity. Webster defines integrity as the firm adherence to a code or standard of values, the state of being unimpaired, and the quality or condition of being undivided. During the term of this current board, there is a perception that full integrity is seriously lacking. As our sworn governing body, integrity must be your #1 attribute. There is a perception that the board no longer adheres 100% to a code, namely our bylaws and standards of values, particularly in the area of communication. The perceived lack of open, truthful communication to the residents has become troublesome. This must be corrected by all members on all topics that fall under your jurisdiction. The second part of the definition addresses being unimpaired. Board members must approach issues without prejudices, personal opinions, or other influencing factors. Anything else is not acceptable. The third part of the definition addresses being undivided. The state of Quiet Harbor, under your leadership, is sadly very divided. Residents I have spoken with don't know who or what to believe concerning issues affecting life here in this wonderful community. The discontent at Quiet Harbor is at an eruption point. Residents are at loss to see a pattern of integrity in their elected leadership. Some of this is fueled by social media. Yes, Facebook is a cesspool, but Facebook has drawn neighbors together in many positive ways, and cesspools are an important part of society. Please end this massive division between neighbors and leadership. We demand integrity, the quality of being undivided. I want to see honest, complete, timely information without the appearance of falsehoods. I want to see the end to rumors. Ladies and gentlemen, improve Quiet Harbor, don't divide it.
Wendy Morris.
I'm Wendy Morris, 1890, and first of all, let me say that I believe that we have the best general manager that we've had in years. We have the best board that we've had in years. We have the best chief that we've had in years. And after saying that, I don't care who you are. If you don't do your job, you need to go. And I am not directing this at the chief by any means. But the bottom line is that there are a lot of employees here that I feel that do not do their jobs, and we create other committees to cover their jobs or whatever. And we have a lot of employees that work really hard, and people know who they are and who they aren't. And I agree with integrity, and a lot of integrity does come from this board, and some of the rumors come from this board. But the other thing is, you guys, I'm embarrassed. I'm totally appalled at Facebook. People in the county is looking at us like idiots. And no, I wouldn't want to move here. I'd be ashamed of myself if I were some of you, bullying and bad-mouthing. And what happens is when somebody doesn't like something that is their little pet peeve, they stir up the pot and they focus on this director or this person or that person. Knock it off. I've had it up to here. Thank you.
Michael, is it Beaker?
Mike Beaker, lot 1954. I again would like to touch on the trust of this board with the members of the Property Owners Association. There are reasons why this has come to this, okay? It starts with following the bylaws, not just us, the members, but also you board members. If you follow those bylaws, then a lot of this would not even be happening. If we want to collect member dues that are past due, there are detailed instructions in those bylaws that should be followed. The only thing I would like to see added to it is maybe at least once you make that informal hand, reach out that hand and find out what the problem is. Maybe they have a terminal illness or a sick child. Maybe they're a wounded warrior. Find out what it is. If there isn't a valid reason, then I support, we need to do something to move towards getting those dues. However, it's the manner in which we do that that makes a difference. It needs to be above board. It needs to be transparent. That way we all know what's going on with that. Along with all of these other decisions. I email several members of the board. If I email 4 of them, I get 4 different stories. Okay? That cannot be happening. The president of the board, Mr. Collins, it says in the bylaws that you are to speak for the board. So when you make a post out there and then say, well, I'm not speaking for the board, it's just my opinion. That's not what we're looking for. We want you to lead. That's why you're there, all of you. We elected you to actually lead. Please be leaders. Follow the bylaws first before you try and enforce them on other people. If you violate those bylaws, when you're trying to enforce them, it's a wrongful act, no matter how you want to look at it. A wrong action, even if you know that somebody's committing a wrong action and you don't do anything about it, that is just as wrong. There's also bylaws that say that all of you have to follow the Robert's Rules of Order.
Time's up. Thanks, sir. Pierre Richter? Valerie Richter?
It's actually Valerie Richter.
Oh, Valerie, okay, sorry.
Valerie Richter, lot 2032. At approximately 7:30 on June 5th, I engaged in a conversation with Director Stevens about the police force, with replacing the police force with private security. I asked him why he would consider this. He quoted the cost difference between a Quiet Harbor Police Department and private security at Lake of the Woods. I informed him that private security has no arrest powers and no legal authority. The most they can do is detain a suspect until Stafford deputies arrived and took a statement. Director Stevens stated that the board had already researched this, and private security has the same legal authority as Quiet Harbor PD. And it would be a lot less costly. I again stated that they do not, in Stafford Sheriff's Department, if Stafford Sheriff's Department did not respond in a reasonable time, the security would let the suspect go, basically a catch and release program, not security at all. He insisted that this had been checked out, and it did not checked out, and I didn't know what I was talking about and needed to check my facts. On June 6th, another conversation, he justified the cost savings of private security over the Quiet Harbor PD. I told him I did not agree with him, therefore it is best we did not continue our conversation. After 20 years in law enforcement, I have since rechecked my facts, and I was correct. Thank you.
Paula Fillion?
Hi, Paula Fillion, lot 24. First, I'd like to thank the one director that acknowledged and replied to my email, Chris Green. Thank you. I guess my top topic isn't as exciting, but I'd like to talk about the playground equipment that's lacking at Lions Park. At the working meeting, there was a lot of oohing and ahhing that it would cost about $24,000 to get a base set of equipment put there, and I feel like this park has the best location in terms of Government Island parking, the largest pavilion, the stables, and the dog park. And it only has a few swings, and I think that we're really underutilizing the space. Since it's always about the money, I propose 3 ways that we can pay for the equipment that won't actually come out of our budget that's been approved for the year. The first option is for us to use some of the beautification funds that we all raise through recycling. I think beautification funds, it's kind of a subjective area. I think Lions Park would look much more beautiful if there was some actual equipment with the swings. The second option is the trash cutting service. We've already paid for this service that we're not going to get now, and if we do the $2 a month times 12 months times how many houses are paying for trash, I believe it's somewhere around $70,000, which would more than cover the $24,000 for the park. And the third option is to ask the Lions Club. It is, after all, Lions Park, and the money that we help them raise is to go back to the community for kids in our community, and I think a park is right up the alley for kids. And lastly, I know we talked about how we can't have it all. We can't have this and something else. We have to choose what we spend our money on. And I know one of the board of directors last week was really concerned about the $24,000 for park equipment, but not as concerned about renovating the basement of the Harbor Inn and making it a gym. And I just want to say that's going to cost a lot more than $24,000, and we have to think about liability as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Phyllis Velosa.
Phyllis Velosa, lot 2192, and I want to talk about property values. If any of you bothered to read the Harbor View last month, you probably saw Mike Unruh's article in there. According to his numbers, the houses in the $300,000 to $400,000 range are selling at a rate 62% less than they were last year. I'm not talking about value, I'm talking about the selling rate. While those that are outside the harbor are selling at a rate 44% higher than they were last year. We need to take a serious look at what is right in the harbor, but what is wrong in the harbor as well that is affecting our property values. And every single one of you, it affects you because you own that house. It's your property value. One day you will sell your home, and I would imagine you would want to get the best value out of your house. As far as the board goes, I'm probably one of the board's biggest critics and have been for the last year and a half that I've been attending board meetings. But I also give them tons of credit because they are in the process of cleaning up a mess that was left by the old general manager in here that is unbelievable. They are working. It may not be as fast as we want them to do, but they are working on a number of issues. And I encourage all of you to continue coming to board meetings because if you come on a regular basis, you'll see and hear what they actually do. You'll see and hear it at the work sessions. You get to know what their thinking is on different issues in here. And I encourage you to keep coming out. That's all I have to say.
David Humphrey.
David Humphrey, lot 2312. Last month's board meeting, the board voted into existence a new committee called the Revitalization Committee, or the RC Committee. And its stated purpose in the charter is to provide assistance to the general manager and the code violation officer, the CVO, in identifying violations of the Quiet Harbor restrictions and covenants. And the RC will assist the CVO in conducting curbside inspections. And I served on the ACC and the LCC committee for a number of years, and the LCC's role really is to serve as a double check. The CVO brings violations before the board, and it's a system of checks and balances. The LCC committee validates those violations, and then it moves forward in the system. And I'm all for having homes look good. I think that it improves property values, and for people trying to sell their house, and if they live next to a house that's in violation, that really impacts their value. And so I think we do need to be vigilant in keeping properties looking good here, and I support that 100%. However, later on this evening, you are going to be on new committee members to populate that revitalization committee. And it turns out that 90% of the members that you're going to be voting on that committee are also members of the LCC committee. That is highly unethical, improper. That should not happen. That provides them to be the judge and jury and executioner. So please don't do that tonight.
Mr. Blankenship.
Thank you, Chip. Good evening, everyone. My name is Bud Blankenship. I'm a 33-year resident of Lot 2576. I've seen a lot of things happening here in Aquia Harbor, but I got to tell you, years ago, before the Facebook Friends of Aquia Harbor Facebook page came into existence, the web board forum had a pretty good, vibrant bunch. And I went out there, and on one occasion, I posted this post proposing passing lanes. Got a lot of churn. The next post that I put out there was a proposal to have a deer hunt on the golf course. And given the fact, justifiably, people who live along there are used to projectiles hitting their homes. Nonetheless, nothing prepared me for the churn that happened following the decisions and directives that came out of this board last May. Good grief. My first thought, have they lost their collective mind? And I thought, well, certainly they're going to respond to our emails. One director did. I even spoke to the general manager. But I thought, wow, where's the information? Where's the communication? Explain it to us. No, instead, what happened, the entire community churned up a big hornet's nest waiting for this information. Tell us why